Is Nikola Jokic too humble? This past Wednesday night, he scored 32 points, had 21 rebounds and 10 assists, making him the only player in NBA history to ever have a 30-point, 20-rebound triple-double in the finals. If things continue as they've been going, he would be the first player in NBA history to finish the playoffs leading the league in points, rebounds, and assists. It's no longer an exaggeration to say that he is shaping up to be one of the greatest NBA players of all time. But what did he say when he asked what all these statistics, all these accolades meant for him? He said, quote, "To be honest, not much. I'm just glad we won the game." In his post-game press conference, he was asked this again about his stat line, and he said, "To be honest, I don't care. It's just a stat." When asked what he thought about Joel Embiid winning the MVP and not him, even though clearly he was better, he said the following: "I don't think about MVPs. People are mean saying Embiid shouldn't have won it. I think he should have won it. He was playing extremely good basketball throughout the whole season. He's really amazing." When asked how he felt about winning the Western Conference Finals MVP, he had this to say: "This trophy is supposed to go to my teammates and coaches. They put me in the situations that I am in, and I am the first among equals. I'm just happy we are collectively getting wins. It's a collective effort from Sparky Gonzalez, who is our equipment manager, to Family Kroenke. It's one big collective effort, and we are growing as a team and as a franchise." When celebrating his MVP, he credits his teammates for the MVP. In his own equipment manager, he places in the same sentence as the owner of the franchise, billionaire Kroenke's, the billionaire Kroenke family. You see here some incredible humility displayed by one of the greatest players of all time. And I think it's very appropriate that the Nuggets are now competing for the finals, 2 wins away, 2 magical wins away. Wow, very exciting. This week's Parsha, Parshas Ba'aloscha, we see something interesting. The Torah tells us that Va'ish Moshe Anov Me'od Mikol Ha'adam Asher Al Pnei Adama. The man Moshe, he was so humble, more so than any human being in the face of the earth. We see that Moshe is regarded as the most humble of all people, and it just brings into question what exactly is humility from a Jewish perspective. Why is it so important? What does it mean? And it's very interesting that we have a few places in the Torah, or in the Talmud, I should say, where it discusses this concept, this topic of humility. There is a passage that says that when Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi died, humility died with him as well. There's another line that says that when Rabbi Yosef heard this line, says the Gemara in Sota, he says, "How could you say this? How could you say humility died with Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi's death? Because after all, I'm still here." So you see that he felt that because he was still alive, humility was still alive. So what that points to us, what that suggests to us, is that humility is not demeaning yourself. It's not denigrating yourself, casting yourself down, pretending like you're not the amazing person that you are. That's not what humility is. And we see this from Rabbi Yosef. He's like, in all due respect, I'm very humble and I'm still here. So humility doesn't mean denying the truth. That might be considered like some kind of like false humility. That would not be an advisable, healthy type of humility. So what then is humility? So very interestingly, there's a really great book by Alan Morinus called Everyday Holiness. I used to learn this with my dear friend Aaron Einbeiter of blessed memory. He was very into this book. And there is a chapter about humility that totally shifted my perspective. And he describes a passage in the Talmud in which Rav Chelbo said that according to Rav Huna, if you have a fixed place for yourself for where you pray, then that is considered a humble person. And when this person dies, the Gemara says, they will say about him, "Where is the humble one? Where is the pious one, the disciple of our father Avram Avinu?" So somehow having your own space in synagogue renders you to be humble. How exactly does that work? So Alan Morinus explains that what humility means is that you recognize the space that you are in, the space that you need to occupy, your true space, and you fill that space. But by doing so, you leave room for other people. It's not denying the space that you're entitled to, that you belong in. It's not denying that. It's understanding who you are, what you can do, and filling that room, filling that space. But by doing so, that leaves necessarily seats for other people to occupy their space and to become the great people that they can become. That's what humility is. So when we look back at Jokic, is he being too humble? I think the answer is no. Never do you see Jokic demean himself, denigrate himself, bring himself down, deny his greatness. He doesn't do that. But what he does in the way he plays the game is that he leaves space for others to be great as well. This might be very well what you saw last week, in the first time in the history of the NBA. 2 players in the same game had 30-point triple-doubles. Truly remarkable. You see that Jokic does very much embody this. He enables others to fill their space, and I believe that this is the Jewish definition of humility. Have a beautiful, beautiful Shabbos. It should be a Shabbos of joy and happiness, and a victory in Game 3. And by Game 3, I mean Game 4. Go Nuggets.